your preferred wholesome radio. We're reaching live from Wells Broadcasting House along Alaafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. Welcome to a brand new week. Today, the 14th day in the month of April 2025. Welcome to Perspectives Unlimited. Perspectives Unlimited is that platform where we go beyond the news to help you make sense of some of the stories across our various national dailies. So alongside with our analysts, we will delve into some of the stories in our different newspapers for today. My name is Toluwaleke Alli. Welcome once again to Perspectives Unlimited. Let's take a look at the front pages across some of our national dailies this morning. On the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, above the masthead, Abdulkarim's anti-Tinubu song gains streams as Soyinka slams NBC. That story is on page 14 of the Punch newspaper. Autonomy. 774 local governments challenge federal government, states in court Tuesday. That story can be found on page 9 of the Punch newspaper. The lead story on the front page of the Punch newspaper for this morning reads, Battle for Rivers. AGF moves to defend Tinubu as PDP governors mobilize 11 SANs. And it has a rider, Fagbemi draft Supreme Court response. PDP berates President Ibas Tompolo hints at Fubara's return. To read more on that story, check out page 8 of the Punch newspaper for this morning. Presidency dismisses U.S. court order on Tinubu. Atiku differs. That's also on page 8. The final story, federal government rules out flood preparedness campaign in 30 high-risk states. And that can be found on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Moving on to the Vanguard newspaper. The lead story on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning reads, U.S. court order on Tinubu. Nothing new in FBI. DEA records on drug case. That's coming from the presidency. And it has a rider says court didn't indict president. So check more on that. Check out page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Above the masthead, tariff. Economic instability, job losses, forex inflow, loom. That's coming from Nasima. So as a couple of riders, federal government needs to turn adversity to opportunity. Adopt viable, affordable, homegrown democracy. NPA should forget 15% fee hike. And that's coming from the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. And all of that can be found on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. Army decries poor Igbo youths' enlistment in military service. And that's on page 51. 2027, Tinubu moves to halt APC members' defection from CPC bloc. That's coming from sources, and it's on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Soyinka slams NBC for banning Idris Abdulkarim's song. That's on page 8. Palm Sunday. Khan condemns plateau killings, demands justice. That's on page 15. PDP governors meet over Fubara as Tumpolo assures of his return. And the story can be found on page 12 of the Vanguard newspaper. On page 54, on the sports column, Chukwu exit of a field marshal. That can be found on page 54 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Moving on to the front page of the Guardian newspaper. 2027, ADP admits gang up to unseat Tinubu as Uzodinma dismisses coalition. That can be found on page 3. Nothing new to reveal. Presidency dismisses U.S. court on Tinubu's drug case. That's also on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. On page 6, Ndume raises alarm over renewed Boko Haram attacks in Borno, seizure of local government areas. And the lead story, Labour laments high cost of living, braces for wage renegotiation. And that can be found on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Huriwa condemns systemic dismantling of democratic structures in Rivers. That's on page 8. On page 5, UN Chief Sanusi others to remember Chibok girls at 2 in London. At 11, I beg your pardon. At 11 in London. And that's on page 5. Labour leaders allege federal government exploitation. Petition ILO, UN. To read more on that story, check out the page 5 of the Guardian newspaper for this morning. Code of Conduct Bureau to check corruption with e-assets declaration system. That's on page 7. And finally, also on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper, Jega faults varsities over a rush of honorary awards to unworthy characters. And those are the stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. The Nigerian Tribune newspaper on the front page has the late story that reads how Supreme Court rulings landed PDP, Labour Party in further crisis. And it has a couple of years. Abure remains in charge. Labour Party spokesman as a Papa Nenadi lay claims. PDP in limbo as members awaits decision on Anyanwu Ude. That's coming from Okoye. Our internal mechanisms will decide way forward. And that's from Ologunagba. And it's on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Above the masthead, SEC bans unregistered digital asset exchange online forex platforms. And that's on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And on page 6, air passengers volume drops amid biting economy. Soyinka slams Tinubu's government, warns Idris Abdulkarim's song unbanned, and that's on page 3. Nigeria attracted over 5 billion naira in new gas-related investments in 12 months. And this is coming from the president, Nigerian Gas Association, and the story is on page 6. Presidency says no new revelations as U.S. court orders FBI, DEA to release records on Tinubu's investigation. And that's on page 3. Finally, on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, why politicians are scrambling for Buhari's nod ahead 2027. Bandits raise mosque, health center, 10 houses in Zamfara. And that's on page 52. Victorious 1980 Afghan squad, Chukwu, Basi, 7 others gone, 13 remaining. Why U.S. court ordered release of Tinubu probe report, and that can be found on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. It has 2 riders. Nothing new to be revealed. That's coming from the presidency. Ruling amenable to appeal. That's coming from the lawyers. And that's all on some of the front pages across so much of our national dailies this morning. All right, joining me on the show this morning is our in-house analyst, Chukwuemeka Munachi. So good morning, Chukwuemeka.
Good morning, Tolu.
All right, do not forget you can watch us live on YouTube. Watch us live on YouTube at Wells Radio 89.3 FM, at Wells Radio 89.3 FM. And you can also go to our Facebook page at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. Drop your comments right there and we'll be sure to take them as we go on the show this morning. Let's start with the lead story on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Battle for Rivers. AGF moves to defend Tinubu as PDP governors mobilize 11 SANs. And it has a rider, Fagbemi drafts Supreme Court response. PDP berates President Ibas. Tompolo hits at Fubara's return. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, has sprung into action and commenced drafting the response of President Bola Tinubu to the People's Democratic Party's governor's suit challenging the declaration of emergency rule in Rivers State. The PDP governors, on their part, have engaged 7 senior advocates of Nigeria and 6 other attorneys to battle the federal government at the Supreme Court on what powers the president has to declare emergency rule in a state and suspend a democratically elected institution of the state. The SANs hired by the governors include Bolaji Ayorinde, Eyitayo Jegede, Kamaldeen Ajibade, J.A. Momoni, Musibao Adetumbi, Samuel Atung, and Yunus Abdulsalam. The others are MS Atolagbe, Ezenwa Ibegunam, Chiamaka Nago, Olakunle Lawal, Abdul Musa, and Eche Adeleke. The PDP governors are also contesting the appointment of a sole administrator by the president to manage the affairs of Rivers State, pending the duration of the suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. President Bola Tinubu on March 18, 2025 declared a state of emergency in Rivers State and suspended Governor Fubara, his deputy Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the Rivers State House of Assembly for an initial period of 6 months. And following the suspension, the president appointed Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired, as a sole administrator to oversee the affairs of Rivers State during the period of the suspension. And the Senate and House of Representatives supported the president's decision through a voice vote, which led to the 11 governors of PDP suing the president and the National Assembly before the Supreme Court. Now that it is looking like both parties are ready to go to court and, tussle it out until there's a possible solution, hoping that the court would give response that would favor everybody, especially people of Rivers State. What's your take on this legal battle that is about to begin?
Well, it is it's one of those, that's the best way to go when there is a suspicion of breach of the Constitution, then you go to court. rather than taking laws into your own hands. I commend the effort of the PDP governors to challenge the declaration of emergency rule in Rivers State. And we have to wait for the court to make its pronouncements. And I pray that when the court eventually does say something, that they will be adhered to, because we live in a country where court orders are not obeyed, and which is one of the tragedy of our so-called democracy we are practicing. Because judicial system, the judiciary is, number one, is very, very vital when you talk of democracy. But here, the judiciary appears not to be working. You understand? Because we have big men who act as gods, that they ride roughshod over any pronouncement made by the judiciary. Now, what we are looking at is a constitutional issue. Because if you look at Section 305, which the president stood upon to declare that emergency rule in Rivers State, we didn't have most of the things that will warrant such declaration. Now we have we look at what is playing out in Plateau, what is going on in Zamfara. A mosque has been raised, houses raised, people die in Zamfara State. And we have it all over some states in the north. And yet, the body language of the president does not tell us that he is going to do something in these states. So, but when it comes to politics, we know that that is where it is like the cash cow. So when they go to this, now that the case is going to court, let's hope to see what the court will say. Because if we allow this to go, such declaration will be made in future, even when there is no reason for it. So I love the way they have taken the matter to court. That's a civil way to go. Go to court. Let us wait and see how the court will interpret what the president did, whether he did it in the wrong way or in the right way. And remember that it was after the declaration that they went for the support of the National Assembly, which I believe is putting the cart before the horse. So all these things will come to will be in the public domain. What actually did the president do wrong? Did he do the right thing? And a lot of interpretations will be given to it. But let's wait and see what the court pronouncement will be.
Okay. You can be a part of the conversation this morning by calling the phone lines 0916 893 1000, 0916 893 1000, or 0916 893 2000, 0916 893 2000. You can also call 0915 333 4893, 0915 333 4893. Put a call through to the studio and be a part of the show. Drop your comments on Facebook at Wales Radio 893 FM fan page. And of course, we're live on YouTube at Wales Radio 89.3 FM. At Wales Radio 89.3 FM. Now let's move on to the Vanguard newspaper. The lead story on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper is nothing new to be revealed. FBI and DEA reports have been public for over 30 years, and that's coming from the presidency. I'll take some of that story. The Nigerian presidency has downplayed recent reports of a U.S. court ruling ordering the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, to release documents relating to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, insisting that the contents of such records are neither new nor incriminating. In a statement released on Sunday via his official X, formerly Twitter, platform, Bayo Ononuga, who is a special advisor to the president on information and strategy, said the reports in question have been in public domain for more than 3 decades and contains no indictment against the Nigerian leader. His remarks come in response to widespread media queries following a ruling last Tuesday by Judge Beryl Howell of the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, directing the FBI and DEA to release non-exempt documents relating to past investigations involving President Tinubu. The ruling stems from a Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, a lawsuit that was filed by American researcher Aaron Greenspan, who sought access to records concerning the president's alleged links to a historic drug trafficking case. And in our decision, Judge Orwell noted that both the FBI and DEA had officially confirmed investigations of Tinubu relating to the drug trafficking ring and ruled that any potential privacy interests were outweighed by the public's right to know.
Yeah, when this issue came up before the election, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said that it should not be released because it will cause a lot of damages to him. Bayo Onanuga is being economical with the truth as far as this thing is concerned. Tinubu is a public figure and the president of Nigeria, and Nigerians deserve the right to know who he is. You understand? There is no time you release anything, they said nothing new to release. We ought to know, we must know. And there's in America, people come out with rape cases, something that happened 25 years ago. Because once you offer yourself to be a public figure, you must be probed. So we are entering into another interesting time as far as Nigeria is concerned. Whatever Tinubu was before, or whatever he has become right now, we ought to know. We have the right to know, and thank God that we are not in Biden administration. This is the Trump administration, and we know what Trump stands for, and you know what the extent it can go for anything. So Nigerians are in for another interesting time. We ought to know. Even look at it's not a question of nothing new to be released, to be revealed. When you use the word revelation, it means there was a secret somewhere. Revelation, reveal, means there was a secret somewhere. So Nigerians need to know the secret. You understand? And America will be doing us a world of good for them to tell us who our leader is. We don't want to pick information from the street or from beer parlor. Let it come from the country where it was alleged such there were infractions on his behalf. So it is a very good one. Let us hear what they will reveal to us. And I know that these things are aimed towards, because I know the politicians don't rest. 2027 is around. And the Nigerians and all these things are coming up right now because of that 2027. And we ought to know exactly what is going on. Who is our leader? What was his past? Where was he? A lot of, and when you want to be a leader, you must be very careful. And that's what I keep telling people. What we do, the firewood you gathered in your youth will definitely be the firewood that we use to light your fire at your old age. You understand? So if the way people should not be reckless in their dealings. Whatever we are doing, there's nothing hidden under the sun. It may catch up with us at any point in time. And the most important thing is that we should be transparent in our dealings with our fellow man and with society. So that at the end of the day, we will not be going to court, telling court not to reveal who we are. If you want to know who Chukwuemeka is, go to anywhere. And that's why if they invite me for any occasion, I always ask people, especially when it comes to engaging in ecclesiastical matters, I always ask them, before you ask me to come, have you prayed to ask God, who is this man coming? Because I will not come where you don't know who is coming. So we ought to know who exactly our president is. Okay,
but do you think that whatever revelation that is going to come out of all of this would in any way, affect maybe the coming election, or would, make Nigerians come out to say, okay, you know what, if this is it, we're not going any further with this.
Okay, let me tell you something. Idris Abdul Karim just released Tell Your Papa. Why did they ban it? Yes, they banned it because they feel that it is Nigerians should not know. But we already know what is going on in the country. They feel that it will go viral, and now they have even banned it. Many people are not interested in the music. That's one thing about banning something. You understand? People are not interested in downloading the music, and they're playing it. You can't go to homes and say people don't play it. If you see, a leader, look, once you offer yourself to be a leader, you must be ready for criticism, whether positive or negative, because that's why you are a leader. You should not be afraid of of your own shadow. You should not be running helter-skelter because people want to talk about you. Then you are not ready to be a leader. You will be criticized. You will be maligned. People will say all manner of things against you. But the most important thing is that, do you know your onions? Do you know where you're going to? Do you know where you're taking the country to? So even banning that Idris Abdulkarim's music is descending into something I cannot explain here. Because it is not right. You are breaching artistic freedom. That is it. People have the right to express themselves artistically, whichever way they do it, as far as they do it within the ambit of the law. So that's the way it should be. And you running around and say they should ban it, it means that you are not qualified to be a leader. That is the thing. Because a leader, look at what they go to other developed countries. Even if you see people coming out because you are a leader, we will tell you what is in our mind. It is left for you to either to take it or not to take it. But we must tell you. Don't tell us not to tell you. I believe in liberty of the freedom of speech. I believe so, as far as it is done within the ambit of the law. That's why I was against people that came out for cyber act as a protest. I said it's not something they should do here, because it's like waxing a record for people who are deaf. They will not understand what you are doing. If anybody that comes out to protest, they see it as a confrontation. No, it is not. It's part and parcel of democracy, if that is what we are practicing. Freedom to protest, freedom to speak out where you know that this thing is, and you can do it using any vehicle, any platform. Idris Abdulkarim decided to do his own through music, and it's allowed. Some people do it through literature. It's allowed. So what America is going to tell us, we need to know, Nigerians should know. And if it's going to be towards 2027, we must know. And there is no way these things will come out, it will not affect 2027. It will, in the long run. If not, why was it shielded first in the first place? We must know.
0916-893-1000, 0916-893-1000 or 0916-893-2000. 0916-893-2000. You can also call 0915-333-4893. 0915-333-4893. Those are the phone lines for you to call to be a part of the show this morning. You're listening to Perspectives Unlimited, and of course you can drop your comments on Facebook at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, and we're live on YouTube. Watch us live at Wells Radio 89.3 FM, at Wells Radio 89.3 FM. In the Vanguard newspaper, there's another story of interest that we'll be taking after this break. So stay tuned. This is your Perspectives Unlimited on Wells Radio 89.3 FM.
Your preferred wholesome radio.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The general public is hereby advised to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Verify the licensing status of such schemes on these websites: www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng, www.fsrcc.gov.ng. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, 0707-338-4828, SEC 0209-462-1168. Announcer, FSRCC.
That Gele Chick, in collaboration with
Wells Radio 89.3 FM, brings you 2 days advanced Gele training featuring Mr. T. Gele, BJ Gele, and that Gele Chick.
Date 23rd to 24th April 2025.
Venue, Wells Radio Broadcasting House, Alafin Avenue, Oliole Estate, Ibadan. Time, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Daily.
Registration fee, 20,000 naira only.
For inquiries, call 070-8447-7686 or 070-4523-8936.
Be a professional gilly artist today and earn your financial freedom. Remember, knowledge is power. This training is supported by Wells Radio 89.3 FM.
Boost your business with Wells Radio 89.3 FM. In a competitive world of business, strategic brand and product positioning is key to growth. Don't remain unseen in the shadows. Shine a spotlight on your brand with Wells Radio 89.3 FM today. Why Wells Radio? We are your state's #1 family radio station. We connect with the heart of families in your state. As the smallest unit of the society, families trust Wells Radio for quality content and information. Visit us today along Alafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. Our white and blue building just before Sharp Corner ensures your business won't go unnoticed. Advertise with us today. Call our marketing office on 0903 936 8185. Call Toby on 0803 509 3394. Yomi on 0706 616 5053. Take the leap today. Let Wells Radio 89.3 FM be the megaphone for your business success. You won't regret it.
89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
Welcome back. It's still Perspectives Unlimited right here on Wells Radio 89.3 FM. I will get back to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Army decries poor enlistment from Southeast, urges youth to join military service. The Nigerian Army has raised alarm over the poor enlistment of Southeast youths into the military service and called for a change of attitude to reverse the trend. Let's pick this call before we continue. Hello. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Concerning Rivers State, I think the president ought to have humbly rescind the emergency declaration and let the state move ahead. If the president is banking on justice, he should be told something like this are beyond pardon. And even for the fact many Nigerians, including respected men like Wole Soyinka and Falana, condemn such declaration, clearly show it is never an acceptable idea. So that's my own thing.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. So back to the story. According to the Army, while Kaduna State recorded over 3,000 applications in the ongoing 2025 recruitment exercise, Enugu State was still struggling with just 100, noting that the story was not different with other southeast states. He called on Enugu and southeast youths to apply in their numbers in the ongoing 2025 recruitment exercise to fill their quotas. The army made the call in Enugu during an Enlightenment town hall meeting with local government council chairmen, traditional rulers, president general of town unions, and other community and thought leaders at the weekend.
This thing came up under Buhari also. I remember the army went to Enugu State. They went to Nsukka. They went to one village at one community at I think is Osowani or somewhere, and they went for recruitment enlightenment. And the Igwe of that community was once a military man, and he told them that he would not like his subjects to be part of Nigerian army because he was there and he was not treated well because of where he came from. The army went away. You see, when you run government and exclude some sections of the country, they are not animals. They see what you are doing, so they will not. Okay.
Let's talk to this person first. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning from Adaka.
Welcome to the show, Ruth.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, as regards Baba Felala statement, we all know that Nigeria dependent solely on crude oil. The country has been in a bad state, and the masses are the ones at the receiving edge, which is high time the federal government focus on agriculture by partnering with state government and local governments so that all these ashes can come to an end. And I will also urge them to please focus more on insecurity too, so that our farmers can come back to their farms, and they should also encourage local production. They should please do the needful on time. So after power turn before they do the needful, we are hungry. They should please.
Okay, thank you very much for that. But that's not in line with what we are discussing this morning. So that's not
when you run a government, you exclude some parts of the country. You exclude them. Go and check Buhari's appointments and how he treated the Southeast. One of his spokespersons came here sometime last year, and I asked him a question. Buhari's appointments, were they national? He said yes, they were national. I made mention of the Southeast. He said no, he loves the Southeast so much that after all, his chief photographer is from Southeast, and his personal driver for so many years is from the Southeast. So that's what. Go and check most parastatals in Nigeria today, under Buhari, and even this most of the spokespersons are from the Southeast. You can never get them into something that is reasonable. So when you go to such region and you say you want to recruit, and you want them to come and join, and they see those who have already joined and where they are, they can't come. Igbos know bad market by looking at it. Now, Tinubu has been accused of lopsided appointments, almost 30-something from the Southwest, 25 from other regions, 24, some 23. The Southeast is miserable to 16. And you want the same people to join the army. When you join there, you stagnate. You go there, people that cannot even write their names become your organ. So they don't want to get involved with such appointment. So that's why they are not enlisting in Nigerian army. If there's a level playing field for all ethnic groups in Nigeria, Igbos will give account of themselves. But there's no level playing field. That's why they are shunning military service. That's why they don't want to enlist. Instead, they will go and look for other things. How many of them go and check the appointments so far under Tinubu? 16 from the Southeast, the lowest among all the regions. And you want them to wake up and say, no family will support his own child to join the military. Because we know how you are going to end up. That's why they are not joining. When you are doing certain things in a country, you don't know the consequences until you begin to look at other areas. When you feel that these people, they don't matter. At the end of the day, look at this students' loan. Do you know the Southeast? Not fully represented because they didn't believe that this thing is actually going to work, because you have put them in a position where anything coming from government, they have to look at it, take it with a pinch of salt. So that's why they are not recruited. That's why you won't find them in the military. Those who are there, where are they today? What is their position? That's why even in police, other police, custom, and you can't even see them because they don't go there. When you go there, coming from this region, you know how you are going to end up. That's why they are not enlisting, and it's now becoming obvious to the military that something is wrong. It didn't start today. It has been on for a very long time. That's why they are equally represented in the army.
You can be a part of the conversation, 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, or 0915-333-4893. Hello?
Hello, good morning. I know it.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Benga Mario.
Thank you. Now, on the claim by the army saying that some set of region in the country that they are not joining the armed forces. And I have some questions to ask you respectively. Number one, if those that are in that those that are soldier present, what welfare package do they have? How much are they feeding on? Those that are at the war front, how much are they feeding on a daily basis? How are you taking care of their welfare needs? I shared a story with you here, I think 2 weeks ago, of a soldier who went on war front, I think in Maiduguri. And the guy, in the course of trying to defend his country, he lost spinal cord. The guy could not walk, and he was on bed since 2019 until 2025. And the guy has not even yet been attended to. The guy said he was being kept in the hospital like that. And the guy came on the social media for assistance from people. He said, according to the soldier, he said the army chief has paid him. He said the soldier where he worked for, they have paid him. Now he said they didn't put out a hospital for him, or for his hospital bill or whatever. And the guy said he's been there on 2019. So does that encourage other Nigerians to join army? People have met with so many army personnel that told me one-on-one that they want to keep it up, that if they have their way. They said the only thing that they have that keeping together. One thing that is good about army job is that the uniform gives you respect. It's any respect anywhere you go. So that is aside that. They said the welfare package is what I told you about. So you are using this clarion, you are using this as a clarion call to beg the army headquarters themselves, to beg the government of the state to please ensure that those army personnel and other security agencies, they are aware to take care of. Give them good remuneration package, same what they call insurance scheme, so that even if they lose their life in the course of defending the country, their citizens will be adequate.
Okay.
That's what we are asking for. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much.
There is something I want to add here. We have never had IGP from the southeast. The one that came close to it was one Onovo from Enugu, and he was there for 6 months, and they removed him. So we've not had anybody from the EFCC. Igbos can never get there. Never. You can never have anybody from. Look, Tolu, there is a lot. So and they see all these things, and you go down there and you are telling them to come. Do you know what you're asking them to do? To come and defend the country, because once you join the army, it means you are there to defend the country. Now, those ones we are calling to defend the country, what is the country doing for them? When the country is marginalizing them and you want them to come and defend the same country, they will not enlist. That's why they are not coming to the army. It didn't start today. It's not Tinubu's problem. It started under Buhari. Even before Buhari, they don't want to enlist in the Nigerian army because you have not shown them the reason why they should get enlisted. And you have not shown them that, look, if you come, when it is time to promote you, we promote you. Not that when it is time, you look at the people that are you retire everybody and bring in somebody from somewhere ahead of all of them. It doesn't work that way. So this is the reaction. This is what you get when you run a country by excluding some people. You get this kind of thing. They won't come. They will allow you to do whatever you want to do with your recruitment. So that's why they are not enlisting. And it is going through town unions and everything is not going to work unless the government change their attitude towards that region. If they don't, it will remain that way.
Okay. We'll move on to the Guardian newspaper. Labour laments high cost of living, braces for wage negotiation. Well, let's talk to this person first. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please turn down the volume on your radio set.
I'm not close to it.
Okay.
My name is George. Why is enlisting into the army becoming a problem now? When all along they have not been sent them for promotion and for other good offices where it will benefit the people from that area. This is what I said earlier, that this selective way of treating people in Nigeria with boomerang, and it becomes a problem.
Sir, the volume on that radio, even though you are not close to it, is very loud.
Okay, hold on. I said,
this is better.
It's now becoming a problem because they have treated them badly long ago. There are other issues that involve people from that side of the country that are not being dealt with sincerely. You treat people from the east as if we are still fighting war. That the people there are bad people. Now you want their children to come to the army. If you move close to the military environment, to find out the number of Easterners that are being killed in the southeast, people are now being worried that what is happening? Why is it that only our children are the ones that are dying, whereas others from other places are being excluded? Posting and taking them to areas of conflict is always affecting the Easterners. So the people are getting worried. You do not want to finish the people from that side, then tomorrow you say they have nobody to. Who do you want to join army now? Nobody will join. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, or 0915-333-4893. Hello.
Hello, good morning, madam.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chukwemeka.
Good morning, sir.
You see, the issue of enlistment in the army is not a southeastern matter alone. It affects the whole southern state. Yes. One of my friend's son, he had a first degree. He went for interview and things like that. Which at least he has a class upper. As I'm telling you this morning, that was last year or maybe 2 years ago. He was never enlisted. They said he's from Osun State. That Osun has taken their own. It's not a matter of southeast or no. It's a matter that involves all the southern states. So please don't make it a sort of a Igbo affair. It's a southern affair. That is that. Now, on the issue of Nigeria Labour Congress saying that the money they are paying, they are renegotiating, the so-called 70,000 naira. As the federal government paid, have they paid the workers? Have they paid the 70,000 naira they talk about? Only last month, the DNYC people have paid their own 75,000 naira or thereabouts. As I speak to you now, Picard has not paid one couple. They paid us old salary last month. Even if we didn't get his salary pension until after the end of Ramadan or something. So I don't know what is wrong with Ajairu. I don't know what is wrong with him. Okay, the other time we said he was going to picket this service provider and things like that. What is he doing about that? He's talking about Kubara or things like that. His main area of jurisdiction, his area of constituencies is labor. We workers, we pensioners, we are suffering. Tell him he should do away with all those non-issues that doesn't bother, that doesn't concern him, and let him concentrate on the issues that concern workers, both federal, state, and local government, especially pensioners. Good morning.
There is something I want to correct here.
Okay.
The caller said his friend's son from Osun State could not be taken because they have already filled their quota. The Southeast, we are not talking of, they are saying that they are not even enlisting. It's not a question of quota. That their quota is there, nobody is coming to fill it. So it's not the same thing. The guy from Osun, they didn't take him because the state has already filled their quota. Southeastern states are not even anywhere near their quota. That's what we are saying. It's not that. So it's not a southern affair. It's a southeast problem.
All right, so let's get back to the Guardian newspaper quickly and take the story that, I took the headline earlier. Labour laments high cost of living braces for wage renegotiation. It has 3 riders. States pay 73,500 naira, 5% higher than federal government. Petrol price erodes wage gains, says Jairo. And NASU lauds 3-year negotiation cycle. Despite the implementation of the national minimum wage across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, stakeholders and labor unions have raised concerns about the cost of living in the country, insisting that many workers will not be able to feed their families. This comes as states sets the average floor wage at 73,471 naira 43 kobo, according to a data analyzed by The Guardian. The mean of state's minimum wage is 3,471 naira 43 kobo, or 5% higher than the legislated wage peg. Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Enugu, Lagos, Niger, Oyo, and Rivers pay much higher than the federal government's 70,000 naira peg and the national average. But less than a year into the rigorously negotiated new wage law, the new salary structure has lost much of its real value, triggering a fresh agitation from stakeholders. With inflation already eating up a large chunk of the addition to the old wages, agitations seem to have commenced ahead of the 2027 renegotiation times. The labor leaders are already setting an agenda for the deliberation, saying that if government only gave one hand and took with another when it adjusted wages last year. At about 24% headline inflation, nominal incomes have lost over 1/4 of its value. Simply, the average minimum wage of the state government is 55,000 naira in real terms compared to a year ago, when the minimum wage was meant to take effect. Now, one of the fears of a lot of people when the issue of the minimum wage came up was the fact that things were still getting more and more expensive. So how are we sure that this amount is going to be able to fill up for the high inflation that we have?
Look,
now? Here we are again.
Labour got it all wrong from the onset. Joe Ajero, I don't know what came over him. You understand? And they told Nigerians that they had an understanding with the federal government that, look, when we take 70, when you take 70, you are not going to remove fuel subsidy. They told Nigerians that was the agreement. Now you collected 70,000, the federal government went back on the agreement and slammed subsidy removal from the rest of us. That's where we are today. Now, I think there are a number of years for review of wages. I don't think it is done every year. So they got it all. They should have known the kind of people they are dealing with before. And I remember that time they approved that they were saying Bosa to the federal. Look at where we are today. You understand? So Joe Ajero and his group, I don't know what is happening to them. Anyway, it is part of the fall in standard of labor leadership. When you hear fall in standard of education, fall in standard of democracy, there is also a fall in standard of labor leadership in Nigeria. They should have known the kind of human beings they are dealing with by agreeing to those terms. Before they were asking for 600 and something thousand. Now, nobody knew that the labor will come down to accept 70,000. What is 70,000 naira in today's Nigeria? I have a case of a young man that wants to go to Lagos to work for 70,000. I called him. I said, if you go to Lagos to work for 70,000, at the end of the day, do you know you can pay 1,000 from Yanabaja to Lagos Island every day? At the end of the day, you will be left with only 10,000, which means you are not working because food is expensive. Better go and find something to do with your life. Leave Lagos alone. Now, we are going back to what Labour ought to have done. There is no way. What we are dealing now is we are dealing with cost push inflation. That's what we are dealing with. And cost is when inflation is caused by increase in the cost of production and services. Now the people they now push it to consumers. That's what we are dealing with. Things are skyrocketing on daily basis. A Congo of Gari is how much now? 1,100 in some areas. a half Congo of rice. This one, not even 2,500. What are you going to do? And you pay school fees out of 70,000. Electricity hike is there, and the telcos are ripping off Nigerians. Yesterday, somebody came to me and was saying, "Do I know the code to retrieve your BVN?" Somebody told us. I said, "Okay, use this code." When he sent the code to this service provider, you know what they did? They flashed his own BVN and removed it. You should have sent it as a text message so that the lady can copy. They flashed it, and the next message is that 20 naira has been deducted from your. He said, but I didn't. I can't copy it now. He dialed again. They flashed it the second time. How much has gone? 40 naira. Criminality all over the place, and yet people are and 70,000 naira is the minimum wage. Is that not the best way to go about? Is it not to send the thing as a text message after the lady has already dialed the code, and you collect 20 naira? You merely flashed it. She couldn't copy it. You told her that you have removed 20 naira. It should come again. And this country is, in fact, I don't know how we got to where we are today. Only God will deliver this country, because it seems there's no end in sight.
All right, this is where we end the show for today. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Tolu. God save Nigeria.
All right, as I would always say, wherever it is that you find yourself, do your best to put Nigeria out there in good light. God bless you. God bless Nigeria. I am Toluwaleke Alli. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Please listen to this important information. The views expressed by the interviewee in this program are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wells Radio 89.3 FM or its affiliated entities. Wells Radio 89.3 FM is committed to providing a platform for diverse perspectives and opinions, and the views expressed by guests on our programs are their personal viewpoints. Wells Radio 89.3 FM does not endorse or take responsibility for the content or opinions expressed by individual interviewees and callers. Thank you.
ẹ̀yin ará àdúgbò ẹlẹ́bú báwo ló ṣe ń lọ lórí ọ̀nà yín gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ̀ ń tajà